fine. She's in our chat room, and I'm trying to get her to our chat. I haven't seen her in our meeting room. Where is it? There's the participants. Yeah, I know, which they've got to be they have to come into the chat if there's a meeting room. I stay very busy in here. So, well, 7:30, we're starting. The kids will wander in as they wander in. Part of our problem here is that so many of our kids take buses. And so they are dependent on the school buses. And if the school bus is running late, they're out of luck, But usually they wander in later. So we'll just see as they come in. You want to introduce yourself?
My name is Griselda.
Okay. Can you hear us okay?
I'm not so clear. Not so clear. But I can hear.
Okay.
Because I could can you repeat again? Do you have a nickname? For example, my nickname is Rina. They call me Rina. How about you? What is your nickname?
I do not have a nickname.
She's just Griselda. And you are welcome to call me Terry, by the way. The kids don't know my first name. And if they can't use it, then we're fine. There's no hope. Anyway, you are, I understand you're a principal?
Yes, I'm a school principal for almost 2007, so for almost 16 years. But I've been in the Department of Education for almost 32 years.
Wow.
32 years in the system and almost 16 years as a school principal.
Are you you may have said, and I missed it. Are you, how are your schools set up? Ours are, of course, kindergarten through 6th through 5th, and then 6th grade through 8th, and then 9th through 12th. Are y'all set up similarly?
Our classes in our country, in the place where I work, starts at 7:30, and the grades 1 to 3 ends their classes at 3:30, while grades 4 to 6 ends their classes at 4:30 in the afternoon.
Okay. What grade levels do you have? Do y'all have grade levels? Like what ages of kids are in your school?
Their ages range from 6 years old to 12 years old, but others who could afford sending their kids to school, we could accommodate 5 years old to 12 years old. Those who have the money for transportation, because our school is far from the town itself.
So obviously more kids have shown up. Guys, you guys had some questions about the Philippines, yes? This is Dr. Hold on, we have an announcement.
We are fortunate to have your library out there. In our school, we do not have that kind of big and beautiful library. But in central schools, in big schools, we have that kind of library, just like in your country.
Hold on 1 second. They're making announcements here. So give me 1 second. Come on, move up. Come on up. Move up a little bit. Move on up, Bob. Come on up. They were asking teachers to come and pick up their testing materials because we have a test this morning. Would you repeat what you said about your library, or?
We do not have that kind of library in our school, but in other schools, big schools, they have that kind of library wherein they have almost the same setup. And some big schools in our country usually have the computers wherein they could use it in researching, especially in high school. Because once upon a time, I was a senior high school principal way back 2019 to 2021, wherein I have seen my teachers and students using library on their research subjects. In
And
high school,
these kids did do research on the Philippines. They did a little bit. So I know that they have questions to ask. Would you guys like to get started? This is Dr. Morales. And I'm just using your formal title for them. So because she is a
you may also call me Ma'am Charina if they are not used to calling me doctor.
okay, Mom Charina also. Okay. So who has questions? What do you want to ask? This is your chance. Real loud. I know you have one. Well, ask it, Griselda.
So your flag says that blue means peacefulness. Is it actually peaceful in the Philippines?
Yes, it's very peaceful in our country. We have law enforcers like policemen, soldiers, coast guard, and others who protect the safety and orderliness in our country. Would you like to visit our country
You like to visit?
someday?
Yeah. How many of you would
It's a
like to
beautiful
visit the Philippines at some point?
Wow, I'd love seeing you someday coming to our country
This
in our place.
this young lady said that they're taking a family vacation to the Philippines in 2025. So
Wow, what particular place in our country? Would you visit Is it Boracay? Is it Siargao? Usually, foreigners come to visit beautiful beaches in our country. Where do you plan to go in our country? What particular place?
Boracay.
Boracay.
Boracay
Remember
Island.
this delay in speech, okay? So you have to kind of wait with the bouncing back, all right? I'm trying to remind them that with Zoom, we have to wait a minute or a few seconds after you speak because because of the technology we're using. We have to kind of end, we can't talk at the same time. If that makes sense. Oh boy, I moved my hand, didn't I? Okay, over. I have an AI camera, and when you wave your hand, it follows you. Okay, so does someone else have a question? Or are you just waving your hand to get the camera back? Camera back. What other questions? Yes, Liam, I know you have one.
How do duck eggs taste?
Duck eggs. He wants to know how duck eggs taste. Apparently that is a food of the Philippines.
It tastes delicious, the duck eggs. Just like other eggs, it tastes delicious depending on the kind of recipe that you would cook using duck eggs. Because some are using what we call spices like onions. Others are placing peppers in black. So depending on the kind of recipe that you're going to cook the duck eggs, it's just like an ordinary egg that you also eat just like in your country.
Cool. What else? Go ahead, ask it real loud. What are common TV shows in the Philippines for kids? Do they watch American TV? Are there special Filipino shows?
Before they have the Hiraya Maniwari and other educational shows wherein they have also the characters like Pong Pagong and other animal characters. But now YouTube became very popular among Filipino kids. So nowadays, these shows I'm telling you are rarely seen on television. No particular children's TV show for Filipinos, but more or less, some Filipinos are also patronizing foreign educational shows coming from different countries like Korea, Japan, and also from your country. We are globally exposed nowadays. We are embracing also the culture of foreigners, including yours.
Colonizers. Do you want to ask her anything about colonizers? She used the word colonizer. Do y'all understand that? And why she said colonizers like us, like we are. You want her to explain that a little bit? Because you look confused. Hang on, we have another announcement. Okay, would you mind explaining a little bit about the idea of colonizers in your country? That's what the question was before the announcement.
Colonizers. Long before we have in the 15th century the Spaniards as the first colonizers in our country, wherein it's more than 300 years, actually 333 years wherein um, they colonized Filipinos. Long before they thought that Filipinos like us are not willing to learn like other nationalities. So they call us slaves before, some Filipinos. They thought of Filipinos before in the time of Spaniards as lazy, and usually they are being utilized in hard work like constructing buildings, old churches that we have now in our country. That's it. Then it was followed by the Americans. Americans after the Spaniards, the Americans colonized us. The first contribution that Americans left us when they colonized us is public education. That is why we have here public schools, public universities, and we have the some practices and customs of Americans that we acquired, like eating spaghetti, using using ragged clothes, maong pants, shirts, jackets, and also we learned from the Americans how to process foods. Then after the Americans, we have the Japanese as colonizers. The Japanese also influenced us by sharing their culture, like for example, the way they dress and the way they dance, and other foods that we eat that we learned from Japanese. We also learned how to use chopsticks in eating. So that's how colonizers influence our culture as Filipinos. Differences, not all are negative, but more of positive, more of useful.
What else, guys? Real loud. Wake up. Okay, let me ask a question then, right? What tip, do y'all drive on the right side of the road or the left side of the road? And how hard is it to get a driver's license there? These kids worry about driver's licenses.
I do not own a vehicle, but based from my observation, from the drivers, they are using the left side, and usually, before anybody in our country could have a driver's license, they have to undergo a written test and a schooling, wherein I think it depends upon the person who's going to learn how to drive, how fast he would learn how to drive. For me, for example, way back 2012, I tried enrolling in a driving school, wherein for less than 2 months, I learned how to drive. I had the chance of driving a van for 6 times, I think. That's why way back year 2012, wherein my instructor taught us to use an automatic vehicle, an automatic van.
You said that you don't have a car. Is the infrastructure such that you can take a lot of public transportation? We don't have good public transportation. If you don't have a car here, you're up a creek. How is the public transportation there? What is that like?
The public transportation in our country is more of buses and minibuses and tricycles and the jeepneys. The jeepneys usually have um, 14-seater. So all in all, if you were going to ride on a jeepney, you should have at least 28 passengers. While on buses, big buses, we have less than 50 passengers. And for minibuses, we have less than fares, the amount that you're going to pay. It is more economical to ride on a jeepney, more thrifty, compared to minibuses and buses. The buses we have here, most of them have air condition inside. It's just like the buses that you see on other countries. The minibuses, more or less, are smaller compared to big buses, and usually, sad to say, minibuses here in our country usually encounter road accidents because maybe the drivers are not well trained, or maybe the composition of the minibuses are not that durable, not that quality compared to big buses which are registered. Usually, drivers who meet accident um do na are not that well versed, compared to big buses. They were not able, most of the drivers of mini buses usually do not have the kind of education that big buses have. It's the difference.
So they're more
They
like,
came from poor families, in other words, most of them. So they were not able to come to school and learn the do's and don'ts most of the time, and how to avoid the don'ts, which usually cause road accidents.
go ahead, go ahead. Oh, I gotta not wait. Okay, go ahead. Real loud. You mean, is it different than ours? Okay, she's asking, she's interested in sign language. She wants to know if Filipino Sign Language is the same as ASL, what we use here. I assume,
Yes,
yes. So,
yes, it's the same, because in special education schools that we have in our country, um, we're take we're copying from your sign languages also. And English is our second language here in our country. English. That's a good question. So, are you interested in finding out if we have also some teachers uh, who are trained using sign languages? In our country, we have separate teachers who are trained to use sign languages for those who are having disabilities on sight, on hearing, And other senses. We have special features, so I may say.
You're you're kind of cutting in and out. So just so you know, did you, okay, so can you hear me now? You can hear me, right?
Yes, I could hear you. I'm
Okay,
using a headset, madam.
okay. You keep freezing on the screen. So I can't tell sometimes if it's us or you. We had another question, roll out.
When my dad lived in the Philippines, he usually took his bike to school because his school, like in the area where he lived in, it was like very close to where like buildings were. Where he lived, like schools and like food shops would be like close by in their neighborhood.
So you're just making a statement?
Yeah.
Okay, her dad took the bike,
Ah.
yes. Are there other questions here? Roll
Uh,
out.
If it wasn't different, like from periods of years,
What's the weather like in different times of the year? Basically, yes.
Usually in our country from December to February, but it starts usually on October to February. It's quite cold in our country. It's like you need to wear a sweater so that you won't feel that coldness. Then from March to May, and from June to September we have the wet season. It's a kind of weather we have here in country. And at this moment we have a cold weather in our place. We need to wear a sweater or a jacket to protect yourself from cold.
How
But we
cold?
only have two seasons, the wet and dry season.
When you say really cold, how cold?
Usually we have 26 degrees centigrade. Sometimes it is 22 degrees centigrade. It's just like having an aircon in your place, although you do not have the aircon at the classroom. It's like having an aircon. I could see my teachers wearing jackets early in the morning because we are like in Baguio City wherein it is very cold.
And did you notice what she said? Did she say Fahrenheit? No, Celsius. So they use the metric system, yes?
Yes.
Does it snow? Probably doesn't.
No, we do not have any snow in our country.
Uh,
That is why most of us Filipinos dream of visiting your country because we do not have here in our country snow. And would you believe in your place that is one of your attractions, the snow? Because we Filipinos see in movies that um, Americans are fond of making snowman, and we could see from movies the Christmas trees that you have. We are all curious how beautiful is the experience that we're going to have if we're going to have that kind of experience playing the snow, riding on a sled, and others that we usually see on television.
You have to remember that and correct me if I'm wrong, 0 degrees Celsius is 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Does that make sense? 0 is freezing. 0 Celsius, right?
Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
So 26 degrees Celsius is a lot warmer than our 26 degrees Fahrenheit. Make sense? Yes. What other questions, my friends? We're running out of time. In the back, real loud. Do you have different time zones in the Philippines? Like we have 3 time zones in our country.
Pardon me. Can you repeat the question?
She's asking about time zones in the Philippines, we have in the United States 3 different time zones. So our country is not on the same time everywhere. But y'all are, I think. But it is almost 10 o'clock at night there. Okay, y'all missed that. 10 o'clock at night. I think that's really what she was asking. Yes? Yes. Okay, there was another question. Yes, Willa. Come up here and talk to him. He's gonna come up so you can hear him. He's very soft-spoken. Go ahead.
Is the Mononongo real?
There you go.
Is the Mononongo real?
Is what?
Is the Mononongo real?
Manananggal, the one that has half body and half beast. Where have you heard or seen the Manananggal, half body and half half body which is a beast and half body which is a human and with teeth that is what is sucks blood. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah.
I could only see that in movies, but others are telling that it is true. But for me, it is just a fiction, an imagination. It is usually created for horror movies. Um, Nothing in our history, nothing in our country has ever heard of being caught for real a manananggal. It's just a fiction. So that horror movies and horror stories would be watched, would be patronized by those who are fond of horror movies, and the movie houses would earn money. It's not true. It's just a fiction. It's just a story.
Sorry, Cal.
And with regards to time zone, I could not exactly tell how many time zones we have, but I'm holding here my wristwatch. It is already 9:58 in the evening in our country, while in your country, I think it is daylight.
Yeah, it's daylight. Well, we need to go ahead and get off the Zoom call. We really, Mom Charina, thank you so much for talking to the kids. I appreciate it. I told you there'd be more. So, but thank you so much. Kids, do y'all want to say thank you? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay,
Thank you so much. And I will, yeah, I will, like I said, did you take pictures? Were you able to take pictures?
only I think 5 shots.
Okay.
5 shots.
Cool. Well, we're going to let you go because these kids have a test to take this morning. They're excited. They are. And I appreciate, I really, here I am. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Not yet. Guys, let me